Hello, everyone. Welcome to our 2024 GM Series AAPI month game. We are playing City of Mist, presented by our own Kai. Before we head into the game, I want to say a quick thank you so much to all of our sponsors, Frivolous Bear Studios, Hero Forge, and I Need Diverse Games. Without them, none of this would be possible. Let's jump right into it and introduce everyone at the table. We'll start off with Arman. Hi, tell me who you are and where we can find you.
Hello, I'm Arman. I am a game designer, GM, and critic of all things pop culture. I You can find me on Twitter and on Linktree at Arman Babu, and which will basically give you links to everything else I do.
Excellent, thank you very much. We'll pop on over to Draconix.
Not the full government
I'm
name.
sorry, I have to.
Hi, I'm Draconix or Draconics or just Drac for short. You can follow me on all socials at Draconics. That's Drakoniques. I use he, they pronouns. I am a TTRPG producer, performer, everything TTRPG related I am doing or will be doing. And should I say talk about my character or
Not
just
quite
name my
yet.
character? Not yet? Okay, cool. That's all you need to know. You'll learn everything else later. But just follow me on Twitter to figure out what I'm doing at any given moment. But that's me.
So much. We'll pop on over to Fabian. Hello.
Hey, how's it going? My name is Fabs Fabian. Um, I am a comic creator, a AP producer, GM, a lot of things. Graphic designer and stuff like that. You can find me on Rockets and Pens for comic stuff. And if you want to see my work on the AP space, you can check out Bad House RPG, where we have a lot of World of Darkness stuff.
Excellent, thank you very much. And then it's JPG. Hi.
Hi, everyone. I'm JPG. I'm a pop culture educator and consultant. You've probably most likely seen me lately on Tabletop News because I was one of the hosts for that as well. And yeah, just happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. And last but certainly not least, our game master for the day, Kai.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kai. I use he, they, and she pronouns. You can find me all over the internet as Estelle of Imladris, where I do a lot of tabletop performing. Though this is one of the rare occasions where I'm actually in the GM seat today. You can usually find me on Transplanter RPG as one of the core cast members of the Chaos Protocol, which is an all transgender, people of color led dark fantasy actual play series set in a non colonial, anti Orientalist multiverse, where you can come next arc and see me play more of my sad purple cowboy. But today, I get to share this lovely story with this brilliant table, the Benevolent Association of Portsmouth Square. We're going to start tonight off a little differently with a land acknowledgement. This is a story about a real place that was not given freely. I acknowledge that this story is being told about the San Francisco Peninsula, which is a name given to the unceded ancestral homeland of the Raeytush Ohlone peoples, who are the original inhabitants. I pay my respect to elders, both past and present. The content warnings for this game are earthquakes prominently featured, natural disasters, fire, building fires, ghosts/spirits, complex familial relationships, food, mentions of alcohol, immigration, fantasy violence, NPCs in danger of death, and player characters in imminent danger. Most importantly, while this story is set in 1906, we will be envisioning the world as one that strives towards a better future for all people of color. To that end, though systemic racism and other systems of oppression contribute to key features of this moment in history, racism itself will not be a feature of this game, but the larger effects of it will be present but veiled within the story. And lastly, before we start, I want to thank those cultural neighborhoods like Chinatown in San Francisco, who were the core inspiration of this story. While Portsmouth Square is a fictitious neighborhood, it is based on many contemporaneous places that worked hard to uplift minority voices in hopes of finding a brighter tomorrow. And with that, let's hop in. All right. It's 1906, the dawn of a new century, in one of the biggest cities this side of the Mississippi. Electric street lamps light the hilly metropolis that looms over the industrial titan that is the Bay Area of California. Industry is booming, and folks the world over come to San Francisco to trade wares, build lives, and make a name for themselves. Spring is in full swing, with bright wildflowers painting the hills in rich yellows and oranges. Even the trees look greener on the horizon of the East Bay. In the distance, steam plumes from the stacks of a ship freshly docked at Angel Island, the gateway to the United States from the Pacific and beyond. In fact, that's how many of the denizens of one specific little neighborhood of the city arrived: Portsmouth Square. Located just east of Chinatown in the thrumming heart of the city near the waterfront, Portsmouth Square is a bustling and dense grouping of 26 city blocks filled with shops, restaurants, apartment buildings, and offices. To operate the switchboard alone, the city employs people who can speak at least 25 languages, and you can eat a handmade tamale for lunch and a home-style curry dinner. Like its many peers throughout the city and around the country, Portsmouth Square has a benevolent association that cares for the denizens of its 26 city blocks, aiding them with finances, permitting, international relations, and even medical assistance. Founded by the Six, the original 6 businesses that began the association, the Benevolent Association of Portsmouth Square is the mediator, advocate, and voice of the people of this neighborhood and in the city at large, in the daylight. But the city of San Francisco is full of surprises, and some no average benevolent association could manage with paperwork and multilingual bulletins. When the dense fog that gathers in the bay every night rolls in, it carries more than rain and the persistent smell of the salty sea. It brings with it magic. But that is the true secret of the Benevolent Association of Portsmouth Square. They have known how to peer into the mist for generations. Each of the 6 cultivates, trains, and nurtures their own select group of folks who by day work as grocers, tailors, chefs, lawyers, but by night embrace the mythos within them as riffs, special people who have within them the seed of myth or legend. Through these rifts, the Benevolent Association has kept this neighborhood safe since its founding over 40 years ago. They are called upon when bhikkhu haunt the park's few trees, or when a mamori begins to actually speak to passersby at Tu Huajun's mercantile. The association staffs all sorts who work closely to keep the community safe, and the spirits, gods, ghosts, and demons that are as diverse as the people who live here in harmony. Today, however, that harmony is being tested. Tu Huajun Mercantile, named after the owner and founder, you guessed it, Tu Huajun, had a pipe burst last night. While not a particularly remarkable event on its own, his is the 7th report of not only burst pipes, but the sound of thunder accompanying the incident. The first, at Thomas's Laundry, could be put down to an air bubble or a fatigue pipe. The second, at the Pine Street Academy, was thought to be a training incident. The third, at Casa de la Plenitud, caused quite a commotion during the dinner rush, causing poor Juanita, one of the owners, to shut down the kitchen for a whole hour at 5 p.m. And they escalated from there. The fountain in the square itself, a city pipe rupturing through the street outside of Das Gasthaus, flooding the street for a whole hour. And now, the last straw. A member of the Six's very treasured storehouse. So a notice was sent out via pedal bike, runner, or telephone. The six have been called upon to send their best sleuths to get to the bottom of the seemingly mundane municipal issue. It summons each of you to a meeting at the banquet hall of Jiro, one of the primary meeting locations of the Benevolent Association's Board of Elders and Proprietors, owned and operated by Moto Momonoi and her family. The banquet hall's entrance is tucked into the alley behind the primary front of the residence, behind the front of the restaurant. It has a finely appointed parlor, complete with a host desk and comfortable upholstered benches. This afternoon, behind the host desk, leads Fumiko, a young Japanese woman wearing glasses, Moto's granddaughter, deeply immersed in a spread of open books. She is freshly 18 and has been training hard to become both an esteemed lawyer and a well-trained rift. Now, to each of my wonderful players, who are you? What do you look like? What important task did the message from the association interrupt? And what do you do while you wait in the parlor? I'm going to say, Drac, why don't you kick us off?
Oh, wait, I should just volunteer myself because I'm going to be volunteered if I don't. You see Ikenoduru. They're about 6'1", 6 foot. Very slim build, almost lanky. Really, if you said that to him to his face, he'd be very upset because lanky is not a very nice sounding word. They prefer perfectly built. They hold themselves with a sense of confidence and almost flamboyance that can either be endearing or maybe even intimidating, depending on who you are. They're in a very not brightly colored, but hard to ignore suit. It's green and it's a forest green and a deep blue checkered suit from the blazer to the pants. Underneath, they have a very floral green and darker forest green shirt and a light green tie. It all works together, but it's a very loud outfit. They have several rings on their fingers, all of them silver with gems on them. One of them definitely has an opal. One of them has almost a amber type stone. They have short trimmed hair, short and trimmed on the sides, but slightly more of almost a perfected mess on top. And a pair of glasses that they keep in their breast pocket at all times. And I'd say because of where it's been poured away from, they have a measuring tape, specifically for measuring body proportions and clothing, because they had just been poured away from Dayao Textiles and Tailors, which is where they work. And I think the specifically important task they were doing then was, I think they were measuring the proportions of a pretty big wig in San Francisco. I think like they come to Dayao's Textiles and Tailors pretty often for their more like when they want to really show off, they want to get a really good suit, they go over there, and they almost always ask for Ikena to be the one taking the measurements and cutting the fabric and making the clothing. And I think they were in the process of measuring for their new pants, and were poured away and just like, I'm so sorry. Just speak to our friend over there to give you a discount. They can sort everything else out. Don't worry, I'll double check it when it's done, but I need to go. And they'll dip immediately to this meeting.
Incredible. We pan through the narrow streets, the alleys, the winding 26 city blocks to find Julian. JPG, will you please introduce your character?
Julian, yeah, I was muted. Julian is he's probably I'm blocks away right now, so I'm the nose in the book, but like it's kind of like in the literal sense, like face literally in a book, and you probably can't see it like camera wise, right? And yeah, so he's dressed in like tweed, a little bit academic-y. He's but he has like this bandolier. But the audience will see that he closes one book, he puts it in the pocket of the bandolier, he opens up another one, and it's another book. And so he knows he's supposed to be in a place, so he stands up from the park bench that he's sitting on, and he just starts sauntering over like you know that scene in The Beauty and the Beast where Bella's going through the okay, like that, but like not talking mess about anybody.
Yeah, as you walk through, you see just a group of children. Oh, Julian! Hi!
Oh, hi, hello. Were you able to return the books to my mom's shop?
Not yet. I didn't
Oh.
finish it.
That's okay. As long as if it's not finished, then it is an adventure that is yet been told. And he like kind of like chipperly goes on his way.
What does Julian look like?
Julian's Filipino. He's young. Probably like I think the best way to describe this is military age. And he yeah, tweed suit. Definitely doesn't look like the suit has seen any wear or tear. But what other details can I give about him? I told about the bandolier books. Yeah.
Well, then my last question is, what do you do as you find yourself wandering into the parlor with only Ikeno? How do you wait?
I think it's his head comes back up from the book, and he nods to Ikena. Oh, hello. Uh, um, and he has like a slight sort of like nervousness about which seat to pick in the parlor because he doesn't want to sit too close to look rude, but he doesn't want to sit too far to look rude. So now he's just standing in the middle of the room.
It kind of sat
Fantastic.
legs crossed, hands on their knees, just very casually waiting. I think trying very hard not to look impatient because they had just been pulled from one of their best customers. This might look bad on them. They don't like looking bad, but they see Julian walk in and go, "Hey, Julian, are you having choice paralysis? You can sit by me. I don't mind."
Oh, thank you. And he like forgets to put away the book and it's just like sitting on his lap and now he's just sitting there, but it's like very stiff.
Oh my gosh. We pull out from this awkward tension for a moment and wind through the streets again to find Vikram. Arman, will you please introduce your character?
Hello, I am playing Vikram Kurian. This is a character, dark brown skin, sort of long hair that is a little atypical for a formal proprietor of the time. I run Korean bookstores where I currently am at. I'm sitting in front of a desk, just going through the accounts and inventory of the store that I run, just making sure all the T's are crossed and all the I's are dotted, making sure that there is not a single number out of place. When I get the message when I am summoned, I begin a whole process of just first closing my book and then putting it in a just a small box, which is then put into a slightly larger box, which is then put onto sort of like a roll tray, which is rolled to the appropriate shelf, double checked against the filing system, and put away safely and locked. There is a whole 15-minute locking the store process before I head out deep in thought. Another thing people now that my character is out in the daylight, a thing that people notice is that well, his face is starting to rot away. especially around the jaw. There is decay in the skin. Most people who cannot see past the veil of the mist sort of just assume that it is a bad skin issue, but people who know to see know that this body is decomposing very slowly before their very eyes. Still, Koreans got Vikram's got a generally upbeat demeanor. Is always happy to be where he is. And when he enters the parlor, you mentioned Fumiko was there doing some studying.
Yes,
Um,
she's reading.
yes, he will nod towards the others, just friendly greeting, but head straight for Fumiko and just ask how her studies are getting.
Uh,
Are yeah. Hello,
you
Fumiko.
approach, and she immediately closes the book that she had her nose in and slides it not super stealthily underneath some other papers. The book next to that is a very dense law book. She is a freshman in college. But the book that she has slid away, you are pretty clear, keen-eyed, and you see that she's actually hiding Pride and Prejudice.
He will just look at the book, linger on it just long enough to make it sure that she knows he notices, and he smiles and goes, "So, how are your law studies going?"
They're going very well. The association will be ready to see you all in just a moment. They're just waiting for the last of you to arrive. I'm a ways until I'm actually taking law. Technically, right now I'm learning pre-law.
Mhm. Oh, of course, yes. If you ever, that is a great textbook right there. But if you ever need of supplementary material, um, just feel free to drop by my shop anytime.
Thanks, Vikram.
Um,
And
I will
oh,
go and take a seat with the others.
Hey, Vikram.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Oh, hello.
Hi.
Have we
as
all
you
met, Kai?
you guys have been around each other for probably quite a
Okay.
while, so depending on how much you've been to like larger association events, you guys are the top choices for your representatives from the six to go and do these kinds of missions. So chances are you might have done other things together, but depending on how fresh face you might be for whatever reason, there's a decent chance that you've only seen them in passing.
I think with Vikram, I open up another like book bandolier and I like excitedly pour over this with him.
Oh, yes. Oh, this is fascinating. Where did you get
Yes.
this?
No,
I'm gonna move so you can get better acquainted. And I kind of will stand up and move away so they can get nerdy with each other.
And as the nerdery profuses through the entirety of this parlor, we draw back out of the fine redwood doors and snake through the alleys to find Anthony. Fabian, will you please introduce your character?
Yeah. So Anthony is a not tall, like pretty tall for someone of Asian descent, but pretty average in the scope of America. They stand about like around like 5'8", like 5'9", pretty broad shouldered, but not stocky. Definitely strong arms. The thing that you can see, very much kind of like basically Popeye arms, like the forearms from the work that they do. Their forearms are, if not massive, very solid. You can see the how built they are. And let me just check something. Okay, there we go. So they are in a hurry. because as they got the what do you call this, the message to meet up, they were in the middle of delivering groceries to a lovely old lady, Auntie Agnes. They're wonderful women. The only problem is when they want their things, they want their things. Nothing is going to stop short of them getting their groceries. So they really had to um bring everything. And you see they're very dressed very simply, dress shirt, some a vest, some dress pants, and some workers boots. And as they leave the premises of Auntie Agnes's house, they look around, they rush into an alley, and they get dragged as if they just get dragged up into the sky. And in another empty alleyway near the meeting place, near the parlor, they 3-point landing, just bam. And it's like, oh shit. Just like rush in. All kind of like still dirty from the produce that was delivered this morning. See, like they look pretty not disheveled, but definitely a worker's kind of demeanor. They emanate a smell of greenery. Like you wouldn't even like the vegetation. You wouldn't expect it, but as soon as they enter the room, you can smell like all the produce. Like they smell exactly like a produce aisle at a supermarket. Um, and as they come in, they nod their head to Fumiko and just point over. It's like, they in there?
Yeah, just a moment. And cutting through the nerding occurring, through kind of trying to be polite and give space to the nerding, you see Fumiko, something that you all have seen her do before, as she is also a rift. She reaches into thin air like she's plucking the strings of an instrument, and gentle pluck, 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 3 notes of a koto play through the air as if coming from everywhere and nowhere. And you know that they also echo into the room beyond. And then with a simple wave of her hand, the doors open. An invitation.
Sweet.
The great. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say as the doors open, to make sure that Anthony is a little bit presentable, you see that their scarf, they are wearing a really bright red scarf. The scarf pats them down as if it is a doting mother, to make sure that their attire isn't as dirty, like isn't as dirty as it is right now. Whatever they
I
can
pictured
dust off.
the scarf kind of wiping off just like the outer layer of like a green onion that's just kind of stuck somewhere.
Exactly. Yes. Like a lettuce leaf. Like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. Thank you.
The great redwood doors open to the sound of boughs of the trees that they were carved from, echoing between them as Fumiko's ability is to bring out the spirits within objects. Inside is a great banquet hall with one long table set for 8 people. Ahead of you in the center, you see Moto, the proprietor of this establishment and the oldest member of the 6 currently seated on the board for the association. Now, as you each enter, please tell me, what does your proprietor look like, and how do they regard you as you enter? I'm going to start back with Vikram.
Okay. So my proprietor is Alexandra Tefengi, of the Tefengi Printing House. My mentor, someone who sort of helped me when I first moved to the city. get start a printing house of my own. She a slightly older woman, with just a demeanor of eternal patience. She sits in, and she is well known for her poker face. And as soon as I enter, she just gives me an acknowledging nod. And that's about it. And that's pretty much all I'm used to getting from Alexandra. Um, at least until those evenings where you get to spend a little more time in her presence.
Wonderful. When she cracks right open.
Mm-hmm.
Next to her sits Dr. Adavi Shukri, who is the doctor associated with the Benevolent Association here. She opens her practice to anyone who needs it within the neighborhood, and they're very close friends. Beside them, Fabs, will you introduce your proprietor?
My proprietor, Master to Anthony, it is Master Li Wei. They're a gardener. They basically imagine James Hong. You see James Hong there. They have a can. They are roughly around like their 70s. They are just like wearing like leisure wear, very comfortable. As they see me, they know that I was late, and they hit me in the shin with their cane.
Incredible. And you see next to him just the ghost of a smile appear on the usually very stern but with a level of undercurrent of warmth to Moto. Beside Moto, Drac, will you please introduce your proprietor?
I think if you did a scan of the room, it'd be pretty clear which one is the proprietor of Ikenna. Just as loudly dressed is a elderly Chinese woman named Chinua Dayo. She's short. I think they already were pretty short, but they definitely shrunk with age as well. But despite that, they seem to hold themselves with a level of confidence that even makes Ikenna look like a shy young man. They have brightly colored, I'd say yellow and orange full almost gown. Also a lot like Ikenna, you can probably guess where he learned it from, sat with their legs crossed, almost watching people, almost like silently judging everyone's outfits as they walk in. You can see they definitely linger on Anthony for a moment before going past them, and they look at Ikenna and they both nod and smile. Again, almost like yes, hello to you, but also love the outfit today as Ikenna sits down beside them.
Incredible. Next to Chunhua is Tu wait, where are we? Is Tu Huajun, the proprietor of Tu Huajun Mercantile. He is an elderly Chinese man pushing 80, give or take. He has the sternest, angriest look on his face, like he was just told, like a bratty school kid, to be quiet for a moment. And next to him, who's left? Next to him is JPG. Will you please introduce your proprietor?
She is a very, very short Filipino woman, and she runs up immediately and starts like licking her thumb and like wiping my face. Uh, and so like Julian starts to like push back and is like, Mom, quit it. We're in front of everyone. And so her name is Althea, and she is the owner of the Mighty Pen, which is the bookshop in the area.
And not so secretly, also the main keeping place of all of the books used in the association's bookkeeping and any like familiar records that have been bestowed upon the Benevolent Association. She is the keeper of the tomes for this community.
I think like
And
in a little bit of a whisper, he says, like, Mom, Dad isn't here right now, is he?
no. And she says a little bit sharply.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, me too. All right. Thank you.
And she straightens herself up. She pulls on the front of your waistcoat just to make sure you look perfect. And then she turns around and runs back to her chair, going right behind the last member of the board, who is Dario Umani, who is a Peruvian man, big, fat, jovial, personable, kind. He is the community's go-to everyman lawyer, who is just so happy to be pretty much everywhere he is. And he is most famously always wearing a flat cap, which he is, of course, today as well. As you all enter, Moto, after Althea sits down, Moto straightens herself up. She is wearing just the simplest blouse with a very form-fitting skirt at the waist, but she is just like the picture of a strict, formidable woman from the early 1900s. But she's also like 5'2". And she stands up in her 80-something years old. Her hair is fully white with just like the ghosts of streaks of black just above her ears. But she looks just like her granddaughter, who is sitting out in the parlor. And she looks to each of you, waits for you all to get situated. Thank you all for coming, esteemed friends and members of the association. It has been brought to our attention that Tuhuajun Mercantile is the latest location to have particular happenings in the pipes. While the city's water system can be temperamental, this is the 7th report in the last week of ruptured cold water pipes. Next to her, without any invitation, Huajun pipes up. It isn't just the pipes. I heard it. I heard the thunder that Adavi said that she heard as well. And he points down the table at her. Well, I'm inclined to believe you, Huajun. We need to know why, which is where you four come in. I know that it would be better if there were 6 of you, but while the other 2 recover, I trust that Portsmouth Square remains in good hands. Will you go with Huajun to see what could be the matter with the pipes?
Yeah, I don't see why not.
Absolutely.
Both things can be handled at a tailor, so I'm sure I'll be able to happily help these 3 with this investigation.
Thank you, Ikenna. Vikram. Julian, are you quite prepared? Anthony?
Yeah.
I think Julian
Tripping
looks around Julian looks around the room a little bit and are you sure? Are you just I mean
Well,
these
Ed,
people
you
are
see Moto look down the table at your mother and then look back at you. He seems to be quite ready. And your mother just very firmly nods.
well, okay, if you think so.
I think you're going to do very well, son.
Just chokes up a little bit. Like
And she beams from ear to ear.
I'm just like Anthony just looks at the 3 companions like, I just gotta keep them alive, right?
Please.
It's
Yeah.
It should just be pipes. So hopefully there's nothing to truly worry about. But in case, you are always a very firm hand to have on hand.
Sometimes I don't think it's when I'm called. Sometimes, most of the time, it's just never only pipes. So,
I
Well,
point to
hopefully
where
it's just that. Go ahead.
I point to where my face has begun to rot, and I say, "You might have already failed at the keeping alive part in my case, but keeping me together is still important.
Hey, you got it.
Thank you. And of course, as always, the neighborhood is in your debt. And we look forward to hopefully finally, and she cuts a very sharp glance to Huajun. Hopefully this is taken care of quickly. There's been enough disturbances as it is. And
Before we
Huajun
head out,
stands up.
could I
Go ahead.
ask a few questions? There have been 7 of these. I've heard the rumblings. And there was thunder?
Yes, there's been thunder, Huajun pipes up again. Every time. And finally, down at the end of the table, Dr. Sucre leans over and very quietly, much more calm than Huajun. It does sound like thunder. It doesn't sound like an explosion. It's got a roll to it, a voice to it.
Okay. Anthony, do you have any thoughts, theories?
I whisper to the scarf, you know anything about this? It smacks me in the head. It's like, I don't think I know anything about this.
Okay. Sorry, I just, lightning, thunder,
I get it. Yeah.
assumed.
Yeah. Yeah, nothing yet, but find out.
Well, I'm ready to start the investigation whenever. Is there anything else you need from us?
Before Moto can actually finish her sentence, she is always a little bit slower to speak. Huajun pops up and he grabs his cane and kind of grabs his little bag. Good, let's go. Yes, thank
Okay.
you. Thank you all for coming, and please let us know what you find. Right this way, and with no ceremony to it whatsoever, Huajun begins to lead you out. You all wind through familiar streets. The storefront of Huajun Mercantile takes up nearly a quarter of a city block. The store's facade is colorful. It's an extravaganza of posters, hanging lanterns, and baskets of wares. Out front, on their century stools, sits a tall, lithe person with medium tan skin and deep wells of black irises. Sinyi, who uses they them pronouns, is Huajun's eagle-eyed offspring. They lean on a cane of red oak that has been carved to look like the long tail of a phoenix as they perch watching the storefront. While Sinyi themselves does not have the ability to peer into the mist, they are the heir apparent to Huajun's beloved store, and they keep it as dear as a parent keeps their nested eggs. And there is a lot to watch. Though there is a lot to watch with the foot traffic, there's even more once you enter the store. Inside is a pristine storefront filled with Huajun's life's work, trade. There are goods from all over the world, but the majority of it appears to be sourced from Guangzhou in southern China directly. Once every year, a member of the family returns to Guangzhou to renegotiate prices, source new goods, and stay in touch with all their relatives still in China. As you all enter, what is one thing that you love that you bought from this store? Beginning with Julian.
I think this is where he got the book bandolier. Right? Because it had to be specially made. It's like a beautiful leather, it's hand like color treated, all of that. So I think this is where he got the book bandolier.
Incredible. What about you, Anthony?
I think there is Anthony. I think in their back pocket, you can see hanging out of them are like these really nice work gloves that very durable, been a godsend with lifting all these boxes and just stocking produce at the market. Yeah, I think that's the thing that he values most that came from.
Amazing. Ikenna, what about you?
It's definitely one of his rings. I think he has a ring that I think is that the ring of the amber gemstone embedded in it. They were probably just coming over just to give them updates on the recent dress or outfit that they came to the tailors for, and immediately their eyes trained on this ring, and they said, "I need to have that. I have an outfit that would be perfect for." And immediately bought it. And I think they're wearing that right now as they walk in.
And Vikram, what about you?
There was a collection of green teas that Vikram particularly enjoyed, especially back when he had a sense of smell and taste. As that's beginning to fade, he still takes out those teas and tries to smell them. And every day that scent is fading a little bit, but he always has that sense of fondness for this store, for this mercantile specifically because they came from here.
Incredible. As you all duck through the clearly labeled door in about 4 languages that just says employees only, you see a larger storeroom. It almost looks like you walked from one world into a completely different world. Inside of the store is colorful, there's windows everywhere, and then you cross the threshold and you are in a dark, dank, stone-lined warehouse with piles of crates, and there's a bunch of sacks, and then along the walls and also with one aisle in the center are just wood and iron wrought shelves with items placed very carefully throughout, but it is lots of boxes very unceremoniously placed. They are well labeled, but something has made a bit of a mess here. Tragically, there is also 3 inches of water that seems to have temporarily made a pond in the middle of this warehouse. As he enters, Huajun lets out just the deepest, heaviest, here it is. He motions to the sopping wet pile of probably some ruined crates and goods. And next to it, a burst thick, like you could put your whole arm in it, water pipe. Well, some good it's gonna do me now. But if you could figure out what caused this, at least hopefully it won't happen again.
Wasn't aware that it was still flooded. I would have worn my less nice shoes, but this is okay. Let's take a look.
Yeah. Looking closer at this pipe, is there any indication that this is not something that would typically cause pipes to burst? Is there any clue or sense of sorry, I didn't mean to be that obvious about it, but
No, you're
are there
doing it.
any
You're doing it.
clues about pipes that we can find here by looking at it closely?
This seems like a situation where you would like to roll investigate.
It
And
is
if
very
anyone
much
else
that situation.
would like to investigate the scene, this would be a great opportunity to do this. Everyone, we're using City of Mist, where it is a 2d6 system. So the players are going to roll a move called Investigate. When you use your abilities to seek answers to burning questions, roll plus power, which we'll talk about in a minute. And on a hit, you're going to get some clues. So the way we're going to do this, you are going to tell me what power tags you would like to use to make this roll. I'm going to find your character sheet.
Well, I think well researched would work here. Vikram reads a lot, so that might help. That might be it, actually.
Okay.
Well researched. So that would be a power of 1 if yeah, if that's right.
Yeah, let's do it. I'm actually also going to invoke a weakness tag, which is constant second guessing
That's
for
fair.
your logos. So that'll make it a
Mhm.
flat roll.
Okay, so just 2d6. Let's roll. That is a total of 9.
Oh, fantastic. So with a total of 9, you choose one. Your investigation exposes you to danger. The clues you get are fuzzy, incomplete, or part true or part false. Whoever or whatever you are asking the questions can ask you one question as well, and you have to answer on the same terms. So you are looking at a pipe. So I'm going to say that at least one of these doesn't quite make sense.
Yeah, not without Fumiko here. All right, so I think I can take this, given that it's difficult for me to die. This investigation exposes me to danger.
Fantastic. And in this, I will also offer you a clue. So you lean in closer to this pipe, and it's thick, heavy copper piping. Thankfully, it was not embedded into the wall. It's just a raw, like industrial exposed pipe. Big, heavy fittings, big, heavy screws. It's been here a while. The copper has some patina on it. And you lean in closer to see what could have made this pipe rupture. And you feel a hand reach for your ankle from out of the puddle of water. And you see it as it wraps its fingers around your leg. Long green hands. They definitely do not look human. And they're smaller. They're not, it's like almost a child-sized hand is reaching out from the water to grab you, and you see the arm, and do you react?
Yes, I will try to pull, just jerkily try to pull my leg free. And just that's a knee-jerk reaction.
Yeah,
Um,
you go to pull your leg away, and your foot is wet. It's like there was no hand there. So now you have wet socks. That's your peril. But you also did see a hand. Um,
long green fingers. So would that be my clue?
your clue is that there
Oh,
are spectral hands that have reached out of the water.
spectral hands in the water. Got it. Did
Uh,
did you guys see the hand?
What? It kind of been sat on a crate trying to get their feet out of the water. And they pulled out a handkerchief to dry their shoes. What hand? Is there a hand in there?
I sort of lean down and put my fingers through the puddle. I assume I reach floor.
yeah, within like not even up to your knuckles on your palm, you get floor.
Mm. I, there was a hand that reached through this water and grabbed my ankle before disappearing.
Well, I didn't see a hand, but not to say that I think you're a liar or anything like that. Maybe, well, maybe there's something in the water, and I would like to see. I kind of want to change the game here.
Hmm.
Kai,
Yeah.
what do you think? Give yourself
Yeah,
your
yeah,
allies an
yeah.
advantage? Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. And I love this. Go ahead and roll. Tell me what tags you're using.
Okay, so I could choose any of the tags, right?
Yeah,
Like, can
go whole
okay,
ham.
so all All right. So my mythos is the Library of Alexandria. And so I would say to access the information of the library. I would also say, what do you think covering topics of the ancient world would count as something? Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
And then would you also think I'll go with those two for now.
Okay, fantastic.
So it's 2d6 plus 2 on this one.
Correct.
All right.
And I'm going to invoke information overload, which is your divination weakness tag.
Mm-hmm. So then
So it's a +1.
So it's +1.
Yeah.
I'm feeling lucky. I'm feeling lucky. Famous last words, but okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm rolling it. So I rolled snake eyes.
Oh my gosh.
+1.
You said you're feeling lucky, and then you roll snake eyes. I'm just saying you
Yep.
tempted fate there.
Yeah, that felt on brand.
Yeah. So I think that this is wonderful, honestly. You reach into your mythos and almost like what does it look like for you when you begin to access this information?
I think what it looks like, it's those like dreams and or nightmares where people are in a library.
Yeah.
So like it's like those long halls, it's indescript books. If the viewer is watching, you can't really tell what it says on the books, but you can tell that Julian can read them. And I think it's like I think what happens is that when he goes into this sort of like library mind palace, it's bright and it's nice and it's beautiful and it's like gold flaked. And since I just rolled bad, I think that's where it like turns into from the dream to the nightmare.
And you see flames, right?
And I see flames, yes.
Yes. And I think within that, you can see the mist kind of manifest within your nightmare dream, within your ability itself. A large gout of water right before you lose touch with that.
Well,
go ahead.
Okay, I don't think this is normal water. I don't think this is sleeper water.
What's sleeper water?
Well, because
Someone's asked the same question.
my dad calls them sleepers, and it's like the people who don't get to see all the great things that we get to see. And yeah, so yeah, is that a bad word for them?
I don't think so. I have heard of the term.
Oh, okay.
Just haven't heard it used in relation to water, so I'm just a little bit confused.
It's not the nicest term, but I think it's appropriate.
So I shouldn't be using that. Okay.
Oh, I think you can use it fine. It's just I feel like you know what? Sleeper works.
Okay.
But I think we can all agree there's something supernatural going on around here.
Well, fuck it. Let me give it a go. Can I try to roll something?
Please. What would you like to do to try and figure out this scene?
I think I will also try to do investigate.
Sure, yeah.
And let's see my tags here. Okay. Will you let me use traveling through storms as a cool? So I'm like, I guess I can do it over there, so maybe somebody else can do it somewhere. So that's 10.
Oh, fantastic. All right. Um,
I want to put out there that Julian thinks Anthony is the coolest freaking person. like it's very like admiring from afar, like, oh god, I wish I was that cool.
But yeah, Anthony definitely is the densest out of all of you. But I think it's like I think it's from like, oh, learned experience. Oh, I travel through storms. There's possible ways that somebody can travel through water. So that's what they're trying to go with.
I think that this is a funny way for you to know this information. So I love it very much because I think while you've traveled through storms before, you've run into all kinds of strange traffic, even though it's a storm.
Yeah.
Like why would anyone else be up there? Oh, except for there are lots of water spirits in the world. And there is an extremely good chance that Vikram was encountering one,
Huh.
which means that they are, I mean, they're always present in everything, but if there's one specifically here paying attention to this pipe rupture, something odd is occurring because sometimes they manifest and sometimes they play a little funny trick on sleepers. Sometimes they play a little funny trick on people who can see through the mist. But this normally you would see them as like air traffic in the raindrops. And by the description, I would say that you have some kind of idea that this is not some big powerful god. This is probably something more on the smaller scale of like water related demon spirits, something in that realm. Which means that very well could be what caused the pipe rupture.
Just give me 1 second.
You're good. And
So can I infer, um, would it be, can I just infer that like maybe it's just not something malevolent, that this something might have affected it?
there are so many reasons why they would be bursting pipes. So I
Yeah.
think that the information you have flat out is knowledge that this was a spirit.
So I just like pass that on.
Okay, so we're dealing with a water spirit. Can you talk to them?
No.
No.
I can see them, but I can't necessarily talk to them.
Can I spend my clue to basically ask the GM straight, how do you talk with these spirits?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Now that you've kind of pieced that together, it depends on what kind of spirit it is, but there are ones that very well could be watching you right now, frankly, that are just waiting for you to make a move, maybe waiting for you to leave. Like many water spirits or other elemental spirits, once the water here would dry up, they would just go somewhere else. Or maybe they're trying to flood this warehouse and have a party in here. It could be so many things, but most likely they are listening to you right now.
Okay, I'm going to attempt to use my power here as I stay crouched by the puddle. My fingers just instead of touching right through the floor, through the puddle, just barely touching the surface, as much as I can manage. And I begin telling a story of this mercantile, of talking about what I know of how it started and the family that runs it and how much they care about the customers and the items they get and how you get things here that you don't get anywhere else. And I talk about the frustrations that happen when a pipe like this bursts and how that leads to losses and certain things getting cut, and there are choices that need to be made when an expenditure like this happens. And I try to use this to sort of mentally reach out to any entities that are watching, and in the end, just sort of try to use that to possibly convince them to help us out.
Yeah. I love this. Go ahead and roll convince.
All right, so I am going to be using mythos tags here. So I'm going to be using spellbinding, storytelling, and mind reading. And yeah, I will. I don't know if I can invoke a weakness tag here, so I will leave that
Yeah.
up to you. In that, I can only read minds that are focused on a story. So if they're not really focused on what I'm on the story parts of what I'm saying, this won't really work.
I will tell you they are listening.
Okay. In which case, yes, I will just use those two power tags.
Fantastic. Go ahead and
I will also put in constant second guessing because this is very much out of my territory of talking to directly to spirits.
Okay. Then that is just a +1. Go ahead
Right.
and roll it.
2d6 plus 1. That is an 8.
All right.
Oh, that was an 8 roll, so that would be a 9. Oh, darn, weakness tag. I
So
forgot I rolled
close.
10.
So
Yeah.
close.
Mhm.
As you were telling the story and just lightly touching the water,
Mhm.
Ikenna, you see from behind Vikram a hand and another hand, and this small figure push itself up out of the water. It's about 3 feet tall. It doesn't come all the way out. It's like someone has popped out of a hole and is just sitting on the surface, watching Vikram tell this story from behind with rapt attention.
Ikenna won't distract or pull Vikram away from their flow. I think whether or Vikram knows Ikenna that well, Ikenna's a bit of a people watcher. And I think they know Vikram enough to be like, if I speak, this will disrupt their flow. They're already second guessing themselves as is. So let me lead them to their story. But I'm going to be watching this water spirit very specifically.
And as the story winds to a close, I would imagine that anyone who is not directly against where the pipe is has the ability to also turn and see this very small figure just watching from the edge of the puddle.
Hey there.
That's a good story.
Thank you.
And you
However, it
see the
is
face of a round-headed, almost frog-like features, but with a pretty pronounced beak, big yellow bright eyes. And throughout the body, anytime anyone moves the water, you can see it ripple across the surface, even though they have a hard turtle-like shell and kind of scaly markings on their arms. A water spirit.
Mhm.
I didn't mean to destroy, I think.
Want some peanuts? I take out peanuts from my pocket.
Hands just straight up.
Did you have any control over what happened here? You said you didn't mean to do this?
Well, I just needed to get attention. Full mouthful. You can see the like peanut shells going all the way in too, and just like kind of coming out into the water. There's just like peanut shells just kind of blubbing up all throughout the puddle.
Well, you definitely have our attention, that's for sure. Why did you need attention?
Oh. And you can see him kind of rolling around what he should tell you.
We're here to help. You can tell us whatever you need, whatever you experience, and we'll do what we can to help.
And also, Anthony, you have definitely seen these kinds of spirits around. These are actually fairly common water spirits. Specifically, they are a kappa from Japan.
Actually, we haven't introduced ourselves. I feel like that should be a thing we should at the top. Hi, I'm Ikenaduru. I am what we call a rift. My mythos, the one connected to me, is from a land fairly far from here, Nigeria specifically, Ikwensu.
Hello. That's the right word. I'm Kyo.
Yeah. Wonderful name. Well, Kyo, we are here to help. What can you tell us?
Why don't you roll convince as well, Ikenna?
I am good
Do
at
your thing.
this. I am going to use talk anyone into anything. That's my logos tag. I would like to use opportunist, as I used Vikram to draw this water spirit out and take an opportunity to speak to them. Such a gossip is my other tag. I think I'm very good at gossiping and getting people to tell me gossip. So it's gonna be my 3, I think.
Fantastic. Then I don't think any of your weakness tags apply, so go ahead and roll +3.
Okay. Roll 13. Or
Oh, wow, okay.
13.
Well, the boss told me to make some noise and get people's attention. The earth seems to be wrong. Loud, wet. No. Yes. The ground is bad.
That's how.
I don't know. Bad. Ground is you can tell that this Sweetwater spirit, given how well you rolled especially, he's not very good at being helpful. He was told to go make a mess and draw some attention. There was information that he was given that he has since kind of forgotten. But he has certainly gotten attention, and the thing that he does remember is that the ground is bad and something is wrong with it.
Okay, friend, Kia. You said your boss told you to make some noise. Is there any way we can reach out to them, speak to them? They might know a bit more.
The closest shrine is up north, south. That's down. No. Follow the water.
Okay, I'll turn to everyone else. Follow the water.
Oh.
Is that all?
Also, all the other spirits keep on leaving.
Oh.
That doesn't sound good.
No, that can't be good. Thank you, Kia. Is that all you know?
Well, for now. And he burps, and you see the water bubble. And from out of the bubble, you see where it looks like it should have come from very deep. Again, this is a 3-inch puddle. A bit of soap comes out. A little bit of dirt comes out. There's some trash, a soggy tortilla. There's a cork of a bottle. Like all sorts of things come out of this puddle. Excuse me.
I'm sorry, Anthony, do you have more peanuts?
That's all it. And I was
No.
gonna eat those, but yeah.
Well, bye. And he
Bye.
just whoops back down into the water, but the stuff does stay.
I wanted to look at the things that he had burped up.
Cool. Fantastic. There's soapy water. You see at the bottom of the puddle, because it's again 3 inches, a piece of stone that doesn't look like it belongs here. Like the ground here is like hard poured gray concrete. I don't think it's concrete, but it's definitely just like industrial floor, whereas there's like white stone in it. There's a
Mhm.
soggy tortilla,
Mhm.
a cork of a bottle, an orange rind. I think that's all. Oh, and dirt.
With the combinations, is there a way that I could use a roll to figure out where he had come from originally?
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead and roll investigate.
Ugh,
This is a mystery game.
Yeah. Well, now I'm afraid. So anytime you ask me to roll, okay, I'm trying to think of
No.
what power tags I can do. Okay, so I do have perfect eidetic recall. So
Perfect.
like
That's very
remembering the
helpful.
city, right? Remembering the city, I
Yep.
think would be really good. I think I also under my defining relationships, I have think outside the box.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Okay, and then I think that's good for now.
Yeah.
All right.
And I'm going to, partly because of your lovely demeanor, I'm going to say also invoke the weakness tag, constantly proving myself.
Oh no. Okay. So I get 2d6 plus 1 now.
+1.
All right. Okay, so that's a 6 in total plus the 1.
Okay. Like, so it's...
So 7.
Yeah, great, fantastic.
Okay.
There's a big difference there. Your investigation exposes you to danger. The clues you get are fuzzy, incomplete, or part true, part false. Or whoever you're asking the questions of can ask you one question as well. These are objects.
I'm of the mind for a one shot to drive characters like we stole them.
Yes.
So I would like to ratchet up the danger.
Fantastic. I love this. You reach into the puddle, and those little hands come back, and he goes to actually grab specifically the orange rind and gets your hand, and you can feel the pull. And I think in this moment, there is a clarity that this is a kami. He is a spirit on a mission sent from some higher power than just one little water spirit. And he goes to grab specifically the orange rind. You let him take it.
Well, I'm still looking at it, so no. I think it's more so I'm so like no, that's mine. Like while I'm looking at it and trying to get clues from it.
Okay. Then as he goes to grab you, hold on, I have a thing for this. You are going to have scratched 2.
Okay, that's fair. All right, scratched 2.
For that orange rind. You earned it.
God, I hope that gives you any sort of plot points, guy.
But you look over all these things, and the stone looks very familiar. The fountain in the actual square of Portsmouth Square, which is a large square park, was one of the locations of a pipe rupture. In fact, the laundry soap is from a laundry. The soggy tortilla, very familiar, because Casa de la Plentitud is famous for their handmade food. And that was another site of a pipe rupture. The last ones, the ones that he was grabbing for, there's a cork, kind of nondescript, but it's definitely a wine cork, is bobbing up and down. And the orange rind are from, most likely, Das Gasthaus, another location.
And that also had a pipe burst, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So this water spirit has been, and I'm saying this to the rest of the crew, like, okay, so this water spirit has been to every other location that there's been a pipe burst. If they're trying to drum up attention, what do all of these places have in common? So maybe we can try to cut them off at the pass and figure out the next location?
Well, I was thinking we solved the problem from the root. It seemed like they were trying to get our attention in the first place. They've got it. Because something was feeling bad. The earth was feeling bad. So we can make the earth feel good somehow.
I feel like these places were chosen simply because there were to get our attention, because there are a lot of people in these places. Our best bet to get some answers as to what the earth is feeling is possibly to follow the water and go to the shrine of whoever it was that sent these spirits out in the first place. If I had to guess.
You do know that this is municipal water. So the water comes from lots of places because it's everywhere. But specifically, Julian, it stands out to you that he wanted specifically the things from Das Gasthaus. So, as a bit of a guidepost, he was specifically trying to keep that information.
Yeah.
So I think what you're saying is what we need to get to, right? Like we need to figure out some sort of source so we can figure out what's making it feel bad, feel good again, right? But then I think we need another lead in order to figure out where to find these people. And if this was so important to try to hide it from us, do you think it would be important to try to visit that particular scene?
Probably.
What, the
Das Gasthaus?
What, the orange pill? Oh, I'll be honest, I haven't really been focused. I've been trying to dry my shoes.
I'm sorry. I think I might have connected a few of the dots before I said it out loud. Okay, so this, and I think he goes through like, okay, well this place connects to this place because of this, and then the grain content, and then all the, and he kind of like info dumps, yeah, and then ends with the Das Gasthaus.
Honestly, okay. To me, you're just stirring up garbage, and then said we should do something. So
Vikram is nodding along with every one of these points. Yeah, no, well put, excellent. Yeah.
As you guys are piecing together how this is, what the next step is, because this game has a wonderful mechanic for it. When we're gonna take a quick 5, and when we come back, we're gonna do a little detective montage. So we'll see you all in 5 minutes. Stretch, grab a drink, and we'll be right back. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Benevolent Association of Portsmouth Square, which is a City of Mist actual play one-shot for AAPI Heritage Month. Back with my lovely cast. We're just going to jump right back in. I'm going to find my place in my notes. So, we return to a city on the precipice of catastrophe. The beings that are only seen through the mist, the divine and supernatural, are uneasy. After your brief encounter with Kyo, you guys have been left with more questions than answers and a handful of trash. What would you like to do?
Where did you say this all led you to? What did you conclude again, Julian?
We were being led to Dusk's guest house, right? Because
Correct.
it was the one piece of information that the water spirit didn't want us to have. So we were thinking about checking that particular area.
You are also welcome to, in this point in time, you're welcome to also just go work the case individually. You can go as a group. You can. It's up to you, really.
I would like to do that, do a montage, work the case, just sort of tell the others, there's some stuff I would like to research. I will be at my store. You can give me a call or we can meet up somewhere. I think there's something I have in the textbook that might help with this.
Okay.
And actually, to that end, I, for no reason at all, don't stress about it. I'm going to roll 2d6. And this will be how many moves remain between now and when something happens. There'll be a minimum of 4. You'll be able to get through at least a scene. But unless you uncover new information or take direct action to slow the arrival of whatever is coming, the event will occur. Don't worry about it.
I'm not
All right.
worried. You're worried.
No, don't worry about it.
Yeah, it worries me that you keep saying "don't worry about it."
The curtness of how you're saying it. Don't worry about it.
I'm very worried. Trey worried right now.
My weakness tag, second guessing, is just all over the place now.
Just constantly.
So, it sounds like Vikram is going back to the shop. Does anyone else have anything that they would like to do, either individually or as a crew?
I go ahead.
I'm here just to make sure that people don't die. So if anybody's going to a location foreign from, like, I think Vikram is going to something that they are familiar with. So I'm like, okay, that's
very safe.
You'll be safe there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm waiting for my 2 other companions to see where they're going.
I think I'm gonna follow up on the lead at Dusk Guest House.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think that since I was the one who had decided on that in the first place, I think it'd be best if I followed up on it.
Ikenna's gonna
What
follow.
about you, Ikenna?
He's more of a talker anyway. Not much of a researcher, so he'll go to Dusk Guest House as well.
Fabulous. The good news is, even though Vikram's shop is probably a little bit further away from Dusk Guest House, it's only 26 square city blocks, and you guys can't be that far away from each other. So we're going to start with Vikram. Vikram, you go to Korean, your store, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And what would you go ahead and how are you going to go about your work the case in your books?
So I am going to research ways in which the ground can be wrong. I try to make that less vague, just looking up things and possibly cross-reference it with any books I have on water spirits in this
Fantastic.
particular area.
I love this. Go ahead and wait, you don't roll. I just tell you. That's so fun.
3 clues, yes. Well, that is powerful.
So you go into your books and beginning with you narrow down and absolutely clarify without a doubt. Kyo was a Kappa who are notorious, somewhat mischievous, sometimes a little evil water spirits, mostly known for occupying rivers, ponds, smaller water bodies of water. There are many tiers of kami in the larger Shinto world. Listen, Kappa are just they're there to vibe. Sometimes they get a little angry. Water is notoriously kind of a temperamental element across the world. So you know for a fact that you have a Kappa who is involved. He doesn't seem particularly bought into the situation. He doesn't really, he's there to just kind of like do what he was told for one reason or another. Probably a higher power said, go do this. So that leads me to the next thing of a higher power of water specifically that you might have been he might have been referencing. Now there's a lot of water gods in the world. There are so many water gods in the world, but if you were staying within, say, the wider pantheon of Japanese folklore, there are quite a few. And the higher they get, the scarier and larger they become, like many things of the elemental world. And so he could be referencing anything from just a larger river god to maybe, I don't know, Watatsumi, the giant god of the ocean. Could have been anything in between. And all of those elements tend to interact. So though water itself isn't necessarily notoriously tied into what is going on with the earth, they do work together. Sometimes they affect each other. And if the ground is wrong, we could be talking the whole moving world turtle. We could be talking about the ground being ill. There are lots of stories and folklore around the water being contaminated through the ground being contaminated. It could be a wide variety of things, so it might take a little bit more digging, but I will say for your 3 clues, at least something in the kami Japanese folklore region is a part of this, that the interaction between water and earth here in particular seems to be one of concern. So the water is worried about the earth. And the last one I will give you is that it's something that as you're researching, you kind of look into just kind of the wider natural world. And in stories of forest fires, the small animals run first. And if Kyo was just a small spirit, what is moving behind him is of much larger concern.
Okay. I will spend just one of those clues and hold on to the other 2 for now.
Fantastic.
To ask, is there an earth spirit in San Francisco that the Benevolent Six know about?
There's a lot of them.
Okay.
There's unfortunately part of the problem here is that you are in almost an overabundance of folkloric stories, partly brought on by the myths, partly brought on by the mixing of cultures. But you've encountered everything from people who have mythos manifesting in them of earth gods, earth divinity, all the way to there are golems. There's been all kinds of speaking earth and clay in this city, and the more ancient ground itself has been imbued with the rites and rituals of the indigenous peoples who were here before. So there's a lot of options, unfortunately. But one thing you know for sure is that there are also plenty of folkloric legend, myth, and belief that the entire world is connected.
Hey, I guess to narrow it down, would there be any earth gods from Japanese folklore that that the six happen to be in good terms with?
I think there's been a few incidents of talking and learning about different kinds of earth divinity. But I will say that nothing in particular leaps out at you from that pantheon as far as known associates to the six.
Okay. I will keep all this in mind and hold on to those 2 extra clues, unless that second question counted as an extra clue.
No, you're good. And I will also say that it doesn't eliminate Japanese folklore so much as it eliminates anything within the scale and scope of what the six have experienced before.
Okay, that is fair. I'll keep this information in mind. I will make quick notes of the most salient points that I've learned. Put that in a folder. Again, do the whole process of locking up the shop and head to Das Guest House, where I assume I will meet up with the others. I assume I will catch up with them in some time. So over to you guys.
Fabulous. We will. I will cue you in when you might arrive after your deep dive into your books. For the rest of you, Das Guest House is a squat, 2-story brick building on Battery Street with friendly lamps and milky bottle green glass windows that face out to the busy street. The front of the building has a recent, still drying patch of brick and mortar that is much newer than the rest, where the burst water pipe did some light damage to the exterior of the building, and the street is still notably wet. The first floor is a wood-paneled parlor with a bar counter backed with a large, spotty mirror and framed by glassware. Once a popular haunt for the neighborhood, Das Gasthaus has fallen on harder times since its original beloved proprietor, Frederick, passed away, leaving the bar to his son, Murad. It once was that anyone who had spent time in the social house had this keen sense of being watched over. But since Murad has taken over, that sense of guardianship has turned into something more ominous, just the lingering sense of being watched. Murad is a Pakistani-German young man who's been around town for a very long time, but many of you would know that until his father passed away, he had no connection to the mist. And after his father's passing, his father's ability passed to him. And one of the most common things seen around Das Gasthaus are ravens. So, as you all wander down to Battery Street, how do you approach? Oh, you also would know that Murad is not a trained rift among your kind and is a little bit standoffish to the wider community.
You say ravens. Is it multiple, or are there just a distinct number of them?
There's a very distinct common number of 2.
Okay. Did their father only have one eye?
Maybe.
Okay. Yeah. Good to know.
I was on the very exact same page.
A question outside of who this person is. How far is Clay Street? Because there was another burst pipe on a fire hydrant on Battery and Clay, correct?
Let me. I actually have a map for this exact purpose.
Hell yeah.
So Clay runs latitude in this area. And so Battery and it was Clay Street and I wrote this. I know things. Oh yeah, it burst on the opposite side of the street.
Oh, so like just exactly the opposite side. Okay.
Yeah, this was the second burst pipe in this area. The first one was I think only like a day before the one outside of this side.
I'm following Julian's lead.
And you also do know that Portsmouth Square, one of the streets that borders it, is also Clay.
Oh, if we're following my lead, I think the first thing that Julian would want to do is pay respects to the proprietor, right? So it's I wanted to my gut reaction is saying Odin's kid, but not really, because like okay. I'm sorry, his name again was, or their name again was?
Murad. His
Murad.
name is Murad.
His name's Murad. Okay. So yeah, the first thing I would do is pay respects to Murad with the rest of the crew.
All right. When you enter, you see Murad, a square-shouldered man in his mid-30s. He has brown skin that has not seen much sun in maybe years. He stands behind the bar, cleaning a glass idly with a gray rag. With some time and intention, he might look very handsome in his gray and navy shirt, suspenders, and finely fit trousers. But he has put absolutely no care in how he wears any of it. The sleeves of his shirt are rolled high above his elbows, even though they are still wet at the bottom. His black, slightly wavy hair hangs unsheared for months, and there is a distance in his dark gray eyes as he stands behind the bar.
Wet and rolled up. It's going to ruin the creasing. Right? Okay.
Hi, Murad. We were hoping if we could maybe take a bit of a look around. It sounded like you had a problem with your
Hi.
pipes.
Oh, it was outside.
Oh, well, we were hoping, well, if it was outside, there could be a problem inside. And he starts to ramble a little bit. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to distract him so other people could take a little bit of a look around.
Amazing.
And like he like takes out a book from the bandolier and was like, well, it is outside, but then these books actually say, and so yes. So what
Okay.
is this when you perform a daring, risky, or outright stupid feat?
Yes, actually, especially because he does not seem to be super taken in when you start putting on the charm. And he is mostly just keeping his eyes on the three of you.
Oh god. Okay. So I got some power tags for this.
Okay, let's go.
Rakish charisma.
Yeah.
Teach lessons or have others learn.
Okay.
Okay. And then I have automatically trusted.
Yes.
Okay. Can I keep going?
Then... yeah, go for it.
No, I'm gonna keep it at that because I kind of want to save it for the audience.
Then I'm going to invoke being compared to my family, information overload,
Come on.
and constantly proving myself.
How dare you guys? All right, let's roll it.
Don't forget, every time I invoke a weakness tag, you get to add attention to that theme. Oh no. Sweet man, what did you do?
I
What
rolled
is
another
his face?
snake, guys.
Oh, no.
What roller are you using?
I don't know.
Digital dice are evil. Anyways.
I don't know. Maybe not for me. I rolled great with my digital dice.
Oh,
Same.
man. So, when
Oh,
you
God.
you either get to have a bargain or an ugly choice. And I already know at least kind of why this doesn't work out.
Okay. So he said bargain or ugly choice.
Yes. So
I might get to pick on this one.
I am going to say I will offer you some options when we get there. So, as you're trying to come in and charm Murad, and he's just cleaning this glass, and this glass is clean, to be very clear. He's got the whole like, disinterested bartender vibe going on. And he sees you approach the bar to like show him the book and start telling him about the stuff, and he just flatly says, "It's been days, and the association cares now." And you feel over your shoulder, Julian, eyes up in the rafters, looking down on you. And then just over his shoulder, you see wings of a large raven just stretch and then resettle. You've been seen. Now, as you were trying to pull his attention, I want you to tell me either why you can't connect with Murad, or what he sees in you that is a vulnerability.
I'm gonna pick the first one where I can say why. Murad figures out my parentage.
Mm-hmm.
And we had talked about this in our session 0, but my dad is, if Rick O'Connell stayed Rick O'Connell within the first 15 minutes of the 1999 film The Mummy, like where he's like a dick and very surly, but he's very good at what he does, who also works for the association. And I feel like Murad just remembered my parentage and he hates him.
Yes. And I think your dad might have walked out on a bill one too many times on the famously amenable Frederick.
Mm-hmm.
And you thought Frederick was mad? Haha. Ugh. What do you want?
Well, it's, we were put on an assignment, and we were hoping to just take a little bit of a look around. We had some clues point towards your place being pretty special. And I think he's trying to find the words, and Julian just keeps floundering and floundering.
And you can feel him looking at you and seeing your father in every detail of what you say, how you move.
I'm watching this entire interaction.
I even think how he catches me is because I invoked a rakish charm. I had to learn that from somewhere, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I think I say a line that my dad always says. And then I think that's when he picks it up.
And he just shuts the whole thing down.
Yeah.
He's just like, no, actually, I know exactly who you are. You were a cute kid, but not anymore.
Like, with like very big very big puppy dog eyes, like looks at Ikenna like, please help.
Yeah, no, this is why I'm here.
Please.
And I'll place a hand on Julian's shoulders. I step forward. And I think this entire time, as I was watching Julian flounder, I was just looking around the room, and as I feel this presence of watching eyes, I'd like to look into the direction of where I can feel them coming from, and
Yeah.
just give a very pleasant smile and wave to
Underneath that presence, you can see Anthony mean mugging one of the ravens.
um Hilarious. I have a fun question for both of you, since you are being observed by the famed ravens of Hugin and Moonin. What do the divine eyes of truth see in both of you?
Idiot.
Oh boy. It is like a vulnerability, just like what do these eyes
For your
pick out?
case, I would say, what glimmer of your mythos do they see that others don't?
Okay. I think as you watch, as you look, as Hugin and Munin look at Ikenna, they see Ikenna first. This just very slim, very high fashion, almost borderline uppity. They do you experience they don't like to get dirty. They kind of hold themselves very high and proper. And behind them, almost wrapped around them like a snake, they see a almost shadowy visage, and deep white glowing eyes, and in this silhouette horns, as they see Iquensu, their mythos, but not just the Iquensu that Ikenna introduces to other people as the god of bargaining, the god of negotiation. I think these see Ikenna and Iquensu, the god of war, the Ibo god of war, a very almost polar opposite to the very social, talkative Ikenna. You see the brute force of their methods behind them.
And in that, you see whichever one of the two of them is looking directly back at you. A deep bow of the head, deference, not to you, Ikenna, but to a shadow within, behind, and through you. What would you like to do? You have the attention of the ravens.
I think with their back to Murad, as they've got the attention that they need from who they need it from, they will just speak to the ravens like they'll speak to anyone else out loud for everyone and Murad to hear. We have reasons to believe that there's some being that a Kappa would consider a boss around here, near here. Do you have any idea where we can find them? We think they might be connected to the burst pipes.
Go ahead and roll a convince.
Yeah. Gonna be the same thing. Took anyone into anything. Opportunist. I kind of waited for Julian to mess up so I could find the ravens.
Come on. Come on.
Hey, this is who Kenna is. I think I'll go with such a gossip again. Yeah, and I think that's it. Those three.
All right. I have a suggestion just because I'm looking at your tags.
Yeah.
Appear like one's close confidant. You don't have to change your
Ooh.
appearance to appear as a confidant.
Okay, yeah, I'll go with that as well. Appear like one's close confidant. Yeah, for 4.
I am going to invoke pure iron because there is iron all over this bar.
Yeah.
and hates to compromise for reasons.
Yeah. That makes sense. Okay, so +2. Ooh, barely made it a 7 exactly.
All right. Then the two ravens, you can see them both turn their heads. They're overly large, dark, beautiful feathered
Wait,
heads.
I have
They
a
look. Oh,
question.
yeah, go
I
ahead.
just remembered. I have an improvement. Getting good at this. Whenever you use the convince move with tags from this theme, it's dynamite.
Oh, fabulous.
I completely forgot I had that. So yes. So and as I used the convince and I used opportunist and took anyone into anything from personality from
Great.
that theme book. So it's dynamite. I don't know if that changes anything.
It does significantly. Let me get to dynamite.
If I'm remembering right about dynamite, you still have to roll higher than a 12 for it to activate,
Okay.
or
You
a
might be
10
right.
plus. If just to be sure.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think it does have to exceed. It takes the. You're right. Thank you. Soon though, I'm rooting for you. So you still succeed. But the ravens, of course, have their secrets. They do look at each other, and then Julian, while you're talking to Murad, one of these ravens, a huge raven, like 3 feet from head to tail, jumps down on the bar. And you see him just put out his arm, the one that's holding the rag, and the raven climbs up and doesn't even get all the way up his shoulder and just leans his long head. And Murad nods. You hear about the ghosts.
Yeah.
Excuse us? Ghosts?
Spirits.
Everything. I don't know if you know this, but this whole city's already super haunted.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've all been leaving. There was a lingering ghost here, and you can hear the hitch in his voice about it. She left.
Do you know why? Did they mention anything before leaving?
No. They just were gone. Listen, I can appreciate the association is busy. So I get it. It's been a few days. There's been a lot going on, I guess, or whatever. I don't think the ghost made my pipes rupture though.
No, we figured that part out. What ruptured the pipes? It was a kappa. We spoke to them, and it seems like it was an attempt to get the attention of someone, potentially us. They mentioned that their boss sent them, and that the Earth was bad. We didn't get much more than that, and we figured the boss might be somewhere around here, so we can get more info.
The other raven comes from behind Murad, jumps down on the bar, kind of hops. And normally when, a raven hops, it's very light and soft sounding, and this one has kind of a heavy weight to it. Hop, hop. And you can see him kind of turn his head and look through the whole room. And look down at the ground. and again hop up. This time just jumps onto Murad's shoulder. And you can see the ravens kind of beginning to talk to each other almost inaudibly behind him, and he's clearly listening to both in one ear, in the other ear. I see. The mist seems to be uneasy, like ripples in a pond. I'm sure that's why the ghosts are leaving. You could have told me that sooner. He gets a peck on the side of his head. And he closes his eyes. And you can see the two ravens' eyes switch to gold. And suddenly your vision all shifts as well. Where the room before was just a room, no thick air, nothing hanging in it, just a kind of dead bar with nothing in it except for the guy cleaning behind the counter. But your vision becomes that of the ravens. And you see gold specks in the air hanging where you can suppose that this is the mist. You can actually see the mist hanging everywhere in this city. But through it, as Murad said, there are just ripples moving through the air like someone's constantly shaking the bottom of a glass. Steady. The ground itself is offsetting the mist. Something is moving beneath the earth. And then your vision returns to you.
Okay. That
seems
did
bad.
feel right. Yes. No, I think that might be an understatement. Thank you, Red Hoogan Moonin. Okay. Guess more, anything
I
that-
whispered to the two of them. I don't think it was that Kappa. I don't think it was calling our attention. I think it was trying to scare people away. I think trying to evacuate. Something's gonna happen.
Yeah. Well, we have to stop it before he does.
Sure, I get it. But we might want to bring this up to the higher ups. Because if we need to move people out of here to make sure that we can do our job, it might, I don't know, might be a move we want to consider.
Okay. We can send someone over to update the rest of the sick.
I think Julian is like kind of like sheepishly like soft shoeing in the corner. I've already kind of messed up a few times. Maybe you can send me and I can get that one right.
We need you, Julian, as I pat Julian on the shoulder. You will be sticking with us. Don't worry, I can handle the message again to someone else. In fact, might as well do a little bit of what I can do. And I would like to use one of my abilities. Me, myself, and I is what I called it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to conjure a clone of myself and send them off to pass on the message.
What does it look like as you summon a duplicate of Kenna? And he is finally dressed as you are?
Oh, exactly. I think, yeah, no, I was going to say he might be wearing a different outfit. No, he's wearing the exact same outfit. And he makes a duplicate of himself. You see them kind of pull the measuring tape off their neck and almost like make quick measurements in the air. And I think if anyone has a trained eye, you can tell that they're measuring themselves in the air, making like almost planning out the dimensions of themselves in the air in front of them, and then puts the measuring tape over their shoulders, kind of look at the plate like empty air for a moment. And as they do, you can see, I think you gradually see the air thicken, and then you start seeing the kind of golden dust we saw earlier, and it becomes condensed enough for it to be seen, and it condenses even further to make a clone, a perfect clone of Ikenna. And they kind of look, Ikenna and Ikenna look at themselves and go, "I look good." And just quickly goes, "Can you pass on the message? You know what I know, sir." And he goes, "Yeah, I got it." And they'll very quickly walk out of Dust Gust House to pass on this message to the Benevolent Association.
Fantastic. I think as your duplicate is walking out, Vikram is on his way back. And you just see Ikenna by himself leaving Dust Gust House.
Oh, Ikenna, I thought you were with the others. What's going on?
I am. And they'll just continue walking away.
Would it be fairly well known amongst tourists that you can do this, or would this come as a complete surprise to me?
If you know Ikenna, you know you can do this.
Okay,
if
right.
you don't know Ikenna, you won't. Yeah. Like,
All right,
so I don't, it's not like a closely guarded secret, but it's not like everybody knows. Unless if you know
Right,
Ikenna,
right.
you would know about that.
Yes, I think if we work together before, I'll have a faint idea if that this is possible. So I'll walk in, I'll just I'll just be all right. See you, Ikenna. Oh, hey, Ikenna. And just how what have we learned? I've got a lot of information. I said just holding up a couple of books and notebooks and just like what have we learned here though?
Well, we saw the mist thanks to our friend here, Murad Hugenamunen. And there's definitely ripples coming from beneath us. Something's moving underneath the city. Probably what has spooked some of the water spirits we've met. And according to Murad Hugenamunen, other ghosts have been leaving as well. I think he said one left just yesterday, as I turned back to Murad for that confirmation.
She left the day before the pipe burst, so 3 days ago.
Beyond that, that's all we really have discovered, all we really know. What did you find?
Well, just so I'll put down my research on the table and try to summarize everything I know. And I will say essentially well as we have already sorted out, this is something to do. This is supernatural related for sure. Something to do with Japanese folklore specifically. And there is a concern about the interaction between water and the earth, and the fact that the spirits are leading. It's a sign. It's a sign. It's a signal that there's something big coming.
I'm going to offer you a chance to cash in some of that lovely research you just did to meet with the other information that you've now been given, if you would like to change in your clues.
I would absolutely love to do that. Would this be exchanging both of them or one of them?
I'm going to say it's both because it's pretty big, but there's no reason why you wouldn't have figured it out with all this information.
I'm just gonna cash it in. This is what clues are for.
Fabulous. So in your research, again, there's just so many earth gods. There's so many spirits that could live and move within the earth, but you know that it is something of Japanese folklore. You know that it is scaring away all of the other spirits. And now you know that it is something large and moving underneath the earth. There is a very old, very prevalent creature of folklore in Japanese culture called O Namazu, the catfish, the instigator of earthquakes.
And I know this to be a powerful being.
It is said to be that Onamazu, when he thrashes deep under the earth, that is the cause of earthquakes. He is huge, he is temperamental, but he does not interact with the surface world. And the other spirits fleeing are because they are some of the only creatures that go deep enough to see when he is moving.
Is there anything in the folklore about what Onamazu wants or might be convinced by, or what stills the catfish?
One of the oldest and most known things about Onamazu is that he is not tameable. He is not changeable. All you can do is be warned and make ready, because this great Yonaushi god is a god of destruction, but also a god of change.
Right, so so everything you've just told me, I will say out loud to the others verbatim. And just say we might want to consider evacuation.
Exactly what we already did.
That's perfect.
Is there? Would you happen to know where it would be?
It's real big. It's like,
Yeah.
it's said to be like island size.
There, I imagine with my well-researched tag, I would know of basically the protocols for if there's an earthquake warning.
Yeah, I mean, there's been earthquakes probably even since you've lived here. There's been earthquakes in California since forever. But there is no early warning system yet. So congratulations, you've just magically created the early warning system for earthquakes. But B, you know that people tend to evacuate to open areas, buildings. While there's been some earthquakes here that have knocked over a few buildings, it's never been anything enormous. They're dangerous. But the best course of action that you know of would be to evacuate, get people to shelter in places that they are able to be for a little while, and protect and move things that you care about.
Right. So, let's see. There is one thing. Let me just check this real quick. Look. Would it be possible to look beyond the mist to try, as an investigation role, to try and figure out how much time we have?
I'm gonna
So,
say yeah.
all right. So it's just roll plus mythos. I don't. Do I also? No, I don't think you can add tags
No,
here.
you just
all
count
right.
how many Mythos theme books you have, and that's your plus.
That's 2. So
Can you add the crew tags here?
Yes.
Yeah, do it.
all right. Let's see. I think we might need some of those crew tags for helping people out if this hits. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna just
At
spend
least
one
one, yeah.
against it. Yeah. So yeah, that's 2d6 plus 3. Let's roll. That's a 7 on the dice, 3 just what I needed. We have gotten our way to a 10.
Fantastic.
Am I the only one that's failing right now on these rolls?
You'll have your chance.
You will
Julian.
have
You'll have your chance.
Yeah.
This is all building up towards like a fantastic 14 or 15 year roll right at the end of the session.
Yeah. So, looking for my moves sheet over here does not have the move you are doing. That's not helpful.
Oh, I'm just looking in the core book. If it helps, it's on page 194.
Thank you. I know it exists.
Yeah.
Uh,
As far as I can read, the results are the same as the investigate role. It's just that I am peering into the mist to do this and using my
Right.
mythos instead of simply using my regular power tools.
I think you're right. I believe that is how that works. So you have gathered all this information. I think you all kind of discuss it amongst yourselves as well, of like what the waves of the mist looked like and how frequently they looked like they were traveling. And you can gather that you maybe have, right now it's like early evening. So you might have a few hours.
Okay. Just peering beyond that, just sort of reaching out with my powers and trying to figure out what time I have. What it basically looks is like I'm taking a nap with intense concentration, just and
And
my eyes will. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, you can feel around you, even though the spirits are fleeing, the actual essence of the city beginning to tell you a story for once as you close your eyes and you hear the hoofbeats in the street. You hear the people walking by the restaurant down the road. You can hear the heartbeat of an alive city, something worth protecting and keeping. And you can also feel it spinning in a way that you have a chance to save people, to save parts of your community. And within that above table, I will tell you, you have 6 moves left.
Oh, okay.
I will. My eyes will pop open and there's clear panic on my face as I say we don't have a lot of time. Um, we need to do as much as we can to get people to safety. Um, how many clones of yourself can you make?
A very good question. How many clones can I make?
I think you can make as many as you have power tags within that theme, I'm going to say.
Okay. So four. Four. In that specific theme. Okay. I have no. Okay, yeah, I have a question.
Mhm.
Have I met any rifts that can teleport?
Yeah, definitely. There's probably a few, honestly. You know that even just Fumiko, who you met before, has the ability to push herself into objects and appear in similar objects in other places. Um, there's so many because it's such a common ability. It kind of even seems like Anthony teleports, even though it's through storms. Like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of variations of things that look like teleporting.
I guess narrow down my question. Do I know anyone who can teleport with people, with others, rather than just themselves?
Um, Probably. I'm gonna say yes. You probably know one person, but it can't be that many. It's gonna be
Yeah.
like one person at a time situation. Um, but if you're looking for someone who can aid you in evacuating people quickly, I will say easily yes. How well they do and like the time frame that it's going to take will cost you a roll and one of the actions that remain.
I can make 4 clones max, 3 since me is going to pass on the message. But once that's done, I'll be able to till then I can make another, so 4 at most. I can also clone others, so maybe we can get
That's useful.
those clones to help. I'd like to ask for permission first, but yes, I can. If I wanted to, I can clone every single one of you.
There is something I would like to try to get the word out to people. It's using my powers in a way I've never really used before, but I think if I push myself, I can manage to at least get the message out to everyone. so that they understand what's coming and what they might need to do. And if it's okay, I'm going to try to use the stop holding back move.
Yeah.
I
Let's go.
am going to use my powers in a new and never before seen scale, and I want to tell everyone a scary story about what is happening, about how that they are going to lose possibly infrastructure, buildings are going to fall, maybe, but the people that strengthen the city, that are the heartbeat of the city, can be saved. If they act fast and if they get to, and I'm going to try and think of just places that they can evacuate to help with their safety. There's no guarantee of how this earthquake will pop out, but yeah, just basically a story of you need to run and you need to be here. This is what you need to do.
Okay.
A story that is informative as it is scary. Not the most compelling story, but hopefully the panic sets in. Or
I'm gonna call this a no return level.
okay.
Boy.
All
Is
right.
there any way I
so-
can help with this?
I was also
Is there like an aid
going
function?
to ask.
How can we all help with this guy?
Oh my goodness. Well, you guys
Is
do
this
have
Is this
crew
our
plus
bonding?
ones.
Yeah. Is this our bonding moment?
I will also
Maybe.
remind you all that you do have the ability to use flashbacks.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Ooh, okay.
So I think I'm just going to basically use the flashback to how I've studied up on what helps during an earthquake, so I have enough information to make sure that people know the right information of how to what helps in an earthquake and weave that
Okay.
into the story.
Fantastic. So probably when you first experienced an earthquake, you went, okay,
Mhm.
what do I actually need to know about this?
Mhm.
And so you dove deep into
Yeah.
learning about it. So you're able to weave that in. And because
Yeah.
of some modifications for this one shot, that is now a +1 forward to your roll.
Right. And in this flashback, you just sort of see me poring over books and sipping tea at a point of time where I could still.
That's what flashbacks should be used for, studying.
That'd
If
be
anyone
great,
else
I
would like
swear.
to use I will take gosh, because there's some corners that we cut because the system is so made for longer mysteries. I will allow for one other person to pitch me a way of helping. And all right, let's go.
I have an idea. So I would also like to use a flashback where it opens in a scene where Anthony just started becoming a rift and becoming a member of the society and asking Master Leeway, hey, in any event that there is nothing we can do, where can we bring the our citizens, our community? And I think they show me a map and like these are evacuation points. And I think in the desperation, we go back to the present where Anthony floats in the air being carried by the scarf. And as the scarf flaps in the air, you see sparks of lightning kind of create these markers and arrows and lead people to where they're supposed to go. And the clouds kind of form like these lights as to where they are. And I think this is also another warning to Master Leeway. Like, if I do this, then that means we got to go to the points.
Fabulous. I love this. Yeah,
So
your lightning arrows point to Portsmouth Square. They point to other parks. They point to the waterfront, not on the docks, but to the actual open beach that still kind of exists at this moment in time. They point towards the larger parks, and they also point up to the hills and the mountains, because San Francisco is actually built over a bunch of hills, but at the very tops there are ones that still have parks and things in them, so you can go and be somewhere away from the chaos. So with that, I will not only say that that's just helpful on its own, but Vikram, you have a +2 from your flashback and from Anthony's flashback to this roll. So that is your 2 mythos tags plus the 2 flashback ones. And if anyone would like to also add, you guys still have those plus forwards from the crew stuff.
I think maybe a +4 is pretty good. I think maybe we save the crew stuff for saving people if we need it. Because all right. So with this 2d6 + 4, that is an 11 rolled. So that is a 15 total.
Fantastic. You are going to mark Fade or Crack and burn all the power tags on one theme.
Okay.
So you will no longer be able to use that theme for the rest of the session, unless you miraculously recover. And you're going to mark a Fade or a Crack, depending on if it's a Mythos or a Logos.
All right. I think it makes sense to use divination because that's kind of what I use for this. So I will burn mind reading, glimpses of relevant story. Wow, this is my more powerful mythos. So that's all burned. No mind reading, no glimpses of this.
You tell them a story. And as that story travels out, you can hear the story of the city change. You can feel the footsteps change from sauntering evening strolls and people getting ready for bed in their apartments to people stopping and listening. You do hear some screaming, some, parents whispering to their children, to elderly talking amongst each other. You can hear the phone lines in the switchboards ringing off the hook very suddenly. You can hear Portsmouth Square come to life and begin to move. You all have 4 more moves left.
I will collapse at the nearest table, just sort of a little weak, and just well, the people they know they're being evacuated, or they're evacuating themselves. I think I've done all I can, but if there's what else can we do?
Just like general guesstimation, how long do we think it would take for full evacuation? Like, would it be in time?
A
Would we still
day.
need a day? Okay. Oh, we do not have a day. Okay, is there a phone here?
Yeah, there is.
Okay.
You ask for it, and
What-
Mira just puts it on the counter because people call in and out of here all the damn time.
Yeah, I'm gonna call who should this be? I'm gonna say the job had been pulled away from the kind of big wig of San Francisco that I had just been tailoring a suit for or taking the measurements of. They're the one with the teleportation powers.
I love
they're
this.
the rift with the teleportation powers. I call them up. Name. I haven't thought of a name. Hi, help me.
I'm going to say that this is gosh. He works in city administration, right? That was what you said?
I just said they're like a kind of big word. They're important in
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm gonna say that this is Samir.
Samir. I will call up Samir and just say, I'm sure you got the message from our friend Vikram. We need to evacuate as many people as possible. Do you think you can help?
Of course. Go ahead and roll convince just to see to what scale and how quickly he enacts this plan.
Yes. So I looked it up, the improvement, just to be sure, and it truly is whenever I roll with that tag, I just get dynamite regardless if
Oh,
it's a 12 or
fabulous.
plus,
Then yes,
because it's an improvement.
I love this.
Yeah, and I'd be using talk anyone into anything with this, which is the theme book with that
Great.
improvement on it. So a 12 plus dynamite for that.
Then the dynamite roll. I have to go into my book. It definitely succeeds. I'm just gonna say, just to kind of like, the mechanic is fabulous. It's not gonna play a huge role in this moment, so I'm just gonna say to the scale that he can help you. I can do that. And
I also called for another thing. Do you mind if I make copies of you who can also help?
do it.
Okay. And I'll immediately drop the call. No pleasantry. This is, and I'm sure he understands as well. Drops the call and very quickly, without the kind of almost boyish fun that he did when he cloned himself, very quickly makes 3 clones of Samir.
Fantastic.
And I would like to make it these clones perfect enough to actually have their abilities as well.
Of course. I think that is fully apt for your role, for your ability. And you build these clones of Samir, and he's this larger North African man, normally buoyant and cheerful spirit, happy to help normally. So this is just more of him. And they each say hello when you build them. Out of thin air, they very politely nod to everybody, and then they know that they are on a mission, so they each just go barreling outside, and you see him reach a group, explain very quickly something that you don't hear, but you're assuming that it's like, hey, I'm going to take you out of the city. Do you have everything you need? And he does this. He walks up to a family of 6, and he has this conversation very quickly, and you see him paint above them a night sky, and then wave his hand, and whoom, all 6 of them are gone. So now there is just a party of 4 of this man running through and using this unique teleportation ability to send people out of the city. You have 3 moves left.
I'd like to take one of these. I think Julian is very much a worrywart when it comes to this sort of stuff, and his big worry is, what if we can't get enough people out of the city? What can we do here? Could I use my encyclopedic knowledge to figure out the best structurally sound buildings that we can use as shelter?
Yes. But I will give you a caveat to that, which is there are none. Just on a purely factual basis, but there are ones that you can reinforce. There are places that you know are relatively durable, thanks to some magic. And so I'm gonna have you quickly roll an investigate.
Oh no.
Use everything.
God, okay. I gotta find things to use. 1 second.
Oh, you know what? Or you can use change the game.
Okay, change, but I still gotta figure out. Oh, so I can burn a power tag or a story tag. I am going to. I want to burn rakish charisma.
Okay, fantastic. So then it just works.
Yeah. But I burn it because I have to ask for help for this, and I am officially not the coolest person in the room, because one of the people I have to call in as a favor is my dad.
Yeah, and he answers the phone all bluster and charm. Oh, hey there, Julian.
Father.
And I'm sure that you regale him with the situation. And he just says, well, there's always the Academy, Pine Street. You can go to your mother's shop, because I think she would protect those books with anything. And You can also try the square. You might want to go there yourself.
Why the square? That has a pretty big area. Do you think that's going to be just as safe as somewhere else?
There's no buildings to fall on it.
Oh. it's that oh god.
Oh yeah.
And it's one of those moments where I'm reminded that I am not the smartest person in the room.
Oh, honey.
Yeah, okay. Well, but how do you think we could get as many people to the square as possible?
Well, I can see something's already happening doing that.
Well, I mean, what are you doing right now?
Oh, packing.
What packing for what?
Well, there's things here I don't want to get collapsed on.
Yeah, oh, okay, wait. I have to deal with the entire city regaling me of all of your famed accomplishments. Are you just gonna leave right now?
No, listen, Julian, son. There are things that a man needs in his life.
Oh, it's a woman, isn't it?
You got me.
Click. Okay,
Incredible.
Yeah, well, at least now we have a place where a famed adventurer thinks that people would be safe. So that's at least a fallback point.
Yes. And we have just a moment longer. What are the final things that anyone would like to do? Where would you like to go?
I would like to take Anthony's
Okay.
measurements real quick.
Okay.
I was
Yep.
like, stand still, and I just started
I see you.
forcibly taking measurements of Anthony.
There's no time. I fling my I fling the scarf up, and I think I have a short conversation of just like, you know what to do. Like, just do it. I don't need to tell you what to do. Just keep doing what you're doing. We need to get the people out. And it just like probably swats me in the face. And I just like point up, and I'm like, we need to get as many people. Julian, you said the square is safe
Yes, yeah, that's going to be the most structurally great place. Yes.
because of no buildings. Let's make sure no buildings actually fall. And I'm gonna head to the square, and if I can burn my expression, I'm gonna pre-destroy some of the other buildings around to make sure nothing starts falling.
Hell yeah, demo man. Let's go. That's awesome. What a great, and people do this, thoughtful way to avoid catastrophe. Create more.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Then with that, where do you guys go knowing that chaos is imminent?
I definitely basically confirmed that I specifically am no longer needed, and I will run straight to the streets as far as it takes, just lungs catching as I run as fast as I can to find my brother and his family, and just specifically focus on making sure that they're safe and staying with them during this. I've done as much as I can to help people at large. Now it is time for me to focus on the micro.
Fantastic. What about you, Julian?
I would say should I check in? I should probably check in with my mom because she's part of the six, so she would know what's happening. But I also think I would check in with her.
It might
just to
put
make sure
her
that,
at ease that she knows where you are.
Exactly. I think it's more. I think I'm saying it's for me. It's really for her.
Yes. Fantastic. We will catch up to that. Anthony, are you just having a good old wrecking time?
So it's not really a good old wrecking time. I am willing to burn my mythos for expression. My weakness tags for these is I lack control. So the destruction is going to be big, but also I lack stamina to sustain it. So by the time that I'm done, I'm just gonna either pass out or just be incapacitated and just lying down in the middle of the square because that's the only place that I can. Yeah.
We'll catch up to you. Ikenna, where do you go?
God, where does he kind of go? From what we've kind of understood about, sorry, what's the name of this? The catfish?
Onamazu.
Onomasu. What we know, is it going to be a case of where it just flails its tail and causes an earthquake, or is it going to come out of the ground? Like, what scale of disruption
It
is
is said to
gonna
be
make?
the cause of earthquakes. It is not always seen.
Okay. Okay, so we don't know if it's gonna come down to a fight. This is more of a wait it out kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'll be in the square. I think that's everyone else is evacuated to legitimately like isolated locations, which is probably more safe. But the square's at the very least the scariest. Even if it is safe, it's gonna be the scariest for people. So I'm gonna be there to hopefully keep people calm.
All right. Then with that, Julian, you find your mother with the rest of the elders, the board of the assembly. The whole of them seem to be concerned, but most of them are actually working. Some of them are rifts themselves. They're creating shields. They're reinforcing homes and buildings, keeping the most important things, the centers of the community in mind. They are keeping safe the switchboard for infrastructure. They are making sure that water is being gathered safely for drinking and cooking. They are working tirelessly, all of these 50-plus-year-old people working, and your mother among them, guiding, using her knowledge of the city of Portsmouth Square to send people where their resources and skills will be most useful. You even see one of those duplicates of Samir coming to her and checking in and taking another group with him as the earth begins to shake. The first shifting of the earth cracks parts of the city and ruptures the foundations of the fountain in the middle of Portsmouth Square. The water pours out, and you see Ikenna and Anthony in your stupor as you begin to dwindle. A massive water dragon rise out and yell just as the earth begins to truly shake. Onamazu! As the great water spirit that sent all of its agents to gather attention finally breaks free and yells a warning. The pavement cracks and the gargantuan catfish thrashes beneath the earth. Its head is wider than a building, its fins are stronger than a steamship, and it cracks the concrete, topples buildings, and ruins lives. Throughout San Francisco, buildings crumble and fall, gas lines rupture, and fire spreads even where the earth has not shaken the foundations apart. But Portsmouth Square is largely empty. The people having evacuated to the hills, to the waterfront, to the parks, to shelters. The buildings fall. But like communities all around the world, they are not about buildings. They're about people. And my final questions to each of you. As the city is crumbling, what is one thing you save? What is one thing that you love that has been destroyed? But lastly, and most importantly, What is one thing that you will do to rebuild? Starting with Vikram.
So, I think the one thing I save is make sure that I save, even at risk to myself, is my brother's family, brother and his family, um, which has multiple people, but I'm hoping I can count them as the one thing I save. Um, the one thing that I love is lost. I would say my bookstore. Um, everything in it, everything is perfectly locked and smashed to rubble. It's perfectly locked rubble at the moment. And the one thing I do to rebuild, well, ask the six for whatever assistance they can provide, but I assume they're helping as many people as possible. So the one thing I do is I just begin very slowly and very meticulously picking up the pieces and starting essentially from scratch. I still have, I mean, I have the contacts that I've made through this, but physically speaking, it's starting all over again.
Ikenna.
One thing I save. That's a tough one. Oh, I know. Ikenna's not very attached to many things. They're very much as long as I'm safe and as long as I'm okay, that's what that really matters. But I think they save the fabrics that were going to become the suit that he was going to fit Samir. He saves that, so at the very least, Samir gets their suit.
Oh,
The thing I lose, I think it's I generally think it's going to be Yao's textile and tailors. I think it collapses in the earthquake. And I think it's a very close shape. I think I'm actively in the tailors as I'm grabbing the fabric and then it almost collapses to right behind me. And how do I help to rebuild? I make clones. I make clones of the people who are going to be more physically building these places, all the rifts, so that the people who aren't awoken don't suddenly find a twin they don't remember having.
there's plenty of construction workers that are rifts. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, perfect. So I'll be like fully like a like as Jim leaves, Jim 2 comes on to take the next shift, like that kind of, and Ikenna's on top of that, making the clones of people to help rebuild. And I guess fitting people for new clothes. I think a big thing when it comes to rebuilding communities is keeping up morale. And I think looking your best helps with morale a lot.
Absolutely. Julian, Anthony, whichever one of you wants to go.
I'll go. So the first one was, what do I save?
Correct.
I think that well, I attribute this to all of us, but I think we save the city's sense of despair, right? We were prepared. We put together an idea and we were able to execute. And that wasn't just individually, that was all of us, and that was all of our skills. What have I lost? Definitely the mutual respect between me and my dad.
Yeah.
And then what was
Listen, you said your dad sucks. I agree. What is one thing that you do to rebuild?
One thing that I do to rebuild. I think that I spend the rest of my time scouring the Library of Alexandria to figure out like ways that I can help the city like structurally. Like what sort of things can I give to like the future architects that the ancient world figured out themselves, right? And so what was okay, so in Big Hero 6, right? Like it's like the like San Francisco is because like they figured out how to like build the city after the earthquake.
Yeah,
right?
because
Yeah.
Japan has much better earthquake proofing buildings even in this era.
Yeah, so it's kind of that sort of feel. And so we see the
Cool.
city 100 years, 150 years later, and it's completely different.
Yeah, that's rad. All right, Anthony.
So Anthony, the one thing that they save, because we already saved the people that we care for. One thing that they make sure that is safe is their work gloves. Something that was destroyed is their livelihood, but they can build that again. And the one thing that they do to rebuild is wear those gloves that they saved and help everyone that they can. There's nothing else. He's not a smart guy. He's sturdy, he's durable, and he's strong. And he uses that to make sure that he can provide the help that people need.
With the city fallen, the association gathers, brings you all in. Juanita, the proprietor of Casa de la Plenitud, makes caldo de pollo, pours it into cups and bowls for everyone to sit and eat, anyone who is hungry. You will sit, you plan, and Portsmouth Square begins again. And with that, thank you all for joining the Benevolent Association of Portsmouth Square. I've just had a wonderful time with this. I'm Kai. I'm going to bounce on over to the cast. Starting, I don't have the wonderful vision. Starting with Arman.
All right. Hi. I have been Arman. You can find me at twitter.com/armanbabu, where you will also find a link tree to everything else I'm doing. Later on today, which is tomorrow for those of you in a stateside time zone, at around 3:30 EST, I will be running an escape room for a Discworld charity stream for the glorious 25th of May. We will also be having a chat about the books and a Discworld themed drawful. This is all to fund Alzheimer's research, so be sure to check it out at the Daisies and Dragons Twitch channel. And yes, that is me.
All right. Drek.
Mute it. Call myself before I actually said anything. Hi, I'm Drag, or Draconics. You can find me on socials at Draconics. That's DRAKONIQUES. I'm a TTRPG performer, actually producer, writer, everything, anything TTRPG related I'm doing or will be doing. Stuff that I'm involved in. I'm going to be here on Stella's channel again on June 8th and June 15th in our Brilliant Ruin two-shot. It's going to be very fun. We had a session here a few days ago, and it was incredible. I'm probably going to be on Stella's channel again. I think there's another thing I'm on a City of Mist campaign next week on Thursday. So you get to see me and Stella play City of Mist for a extended period of time compared to just today, where I play a very fun character who's honestly, now that I think about it, not too different from Ikenna. But just with a different job, but not too different personality-wise. And there's probably other stuff, but those are the main things that I think are exciting that you should keep an eye out for. But yeah, I'll pass it on to Fabs.
What's up? Hi everybody. My name is Fabian, Fabs for short. Thank you for having me, Stella. You can find all of my things in terms of like my personal and like my comic stuff at Rockets and Pens. All of my TTRPG AP stuff at Bad House RPG. Things that are coming up. Catch me tomorrow here again at Stella's channel as we're going to be playing Pathfinder for the Tiansha setting, GM by the wonderful Stella. I'll be a little creepy doll thing, so that's going to be fun. And yeah, I don't have a lot of announcements yet. In September, we're gonna have the Kobold Press special all Asian post-colonialist kind of game. Kai's gonna be in there and Stella. Wonderful cast as well. So watch out for that. And yeah, give me a follow and you'll see some of the things that are coming up in the next few months.
Fantastic. JPG.
Hi everyone, I've been JPG. Thank you so much for having me on on this stream. I'm really glad that we were able to support an HPI Heritage Month. This was wonderful playing with everybody. Once again, I'm a pop culture educator and consultant. I run the consultancy firm Intermyth, so it focuses on pop culture content consulting. So if you're ever thinking about launching a Twitch stream or a TikTok or a podcast, I help out marginalized communities get their voices out there. My next couple big talks are I'm going to be having talks at both San Diego Comic-Con and at Gen Con Indianapolis. So I hope to see you all there, and introduce yourselves if we see each other.
All right, everybody. And I have been Kai, your game master tonight, which is so strange. It never happens. What a treat. Thank you all so much for going on this little adventure with me. You can find me all over the internet as Estelle of Imladris. You can find me on Mondays over on Happy Jack's RPG, playing a new actual play series for Starscape, which is a game being kickstarted this summer by Golden Lasso Games, being GM'd by the creator and proprietor of Golden Lasso Games, Kimmy, where I'm playing just a horrible man. But it's a sci-fi romp with some Western vibes. And then you can find me. Oh my gosh, what's the other thing? You can find me doing all sorts of things. I have lots of one-shots and other projects coming up. But this has been kind of the highlight. You can also find me on Transplanter RPG. We are currently on hiatus for the moment between arcs, but we will be back with Arc 3 in the coming times. But in the meantime, keep an eye out for, I've got a fun backstory episode coming out that I've already recorded. We're going to be doing some other fun interlude things in the meantime. But I think that's all from me. So that should be it from me.
Much. I really
Thanks, Stella.
Thank you so much again to our entire cast. Thank you so much for everyone who's supported, been here for the chat. Thank you so much everyone who's watching this on YouTube. And again, thank you so much to our sponsors, Frivolous Bear Studios, Hero Forge, and I Need Diverse Games. Without them, none of these things would be possible. Please check back on Friday, the 31st at 4 p.m. Eastern Time for the very last episode of our 2024 AAPI GM series. We're going to be playing Trophy Dark with Mads. It's going to be very fun. It's going to be very scary, and it's going to be very dark. We have had a very intense session 0, and I cannot wait to show you what kind of game we have planned. But again, I hope everyone has a wonderful night, and please follow all these people. Please support all of these wonderful performers, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody!